Hey family, it's your man Mark Black. Um, so things are becoming what they're becoming. I mean, people got various comments about what's happening, whether it's a race war or not, or whatever the case may be. Look, there's nothing any different on the side of the pale people today than there was the day before what happened in Dallas. So let's get that straight. For those of you who were unclear, weren't sure, maybe sitting on the fence, we at war. We have been since we stepped foot on these shores. And you would think that with all of the different incidents, all of the different murders and things like that, that we would have been disabused of the notion that we were not at war a long time ago. But we are. So, as a former soldier um, in the United States military, it is what it is. I wanted to provide the family some different tactics that they can use moving forward that will help to save lives. Okay? Help to save lives. The first tactic that I want to share with the family is going forward when you are out and about, you, black people, right? When you are out and about, there needs to be at least 4 to 6 of you at a time. I don't give a damn if you have to fight with your family members and yell at them until they finally get up off their lazy ass to walk with you to the corner store. Okay? When you are moving, you need to be moving in groups. Why is that? Well, it's plain and simple. They're going to come at you in groups. You know how it goes down, family. Usually, even when it's civilian white people, the only time they feel comfortable enough to approach you is when they outnumber you, right? Look at what happened to Alton Sterling, right? It wasn't just one cop walking up to him saying, "Hey, can I holler at you for a second, brother? You know about the CD thing?" No, it didn't go down like that. It was 2 officers against him, one man. So whenever you move, you need to be moving in groups. If you don't listen to anything else that I said in this video, because this is going to go on a bit, I've got a few tactics that I want to offer you. This should be gospel. This should be the one thing that you are doing, even if you do nothing else in this video. Okay? Move in groups, 4 to 6 of us at a time. Okay? We have to be moving in groups. The second thing that we need to be doing is, although we're moving in groups, we need to have enough space between each of us to allow for freedom of movement. Okay? In other words, don't be clustered all up on each other, okay? When you go into an ambush situation, one of the things that the ambushers, right, the ones who are looking to perpetrate an ambush, look for is choke points, bottlenecks, right? They want to get you behind physical barriers, right? Or they create barriers to prevent your freedom of movement, all right? So when you're moving in these groups, you need to be making sure that you have an understanding, or even if you have to assign an order to individuals to be doing this, someone needs to be point, right? They need to be out front, right? You have your main body of the group in the middle, and then someone needs to be pulling up the rear. And whoever's pulling up the rear needs to be watching from threats from behind. The one who's out in front needs to be watching from threats from the front. And the ones in the middle need to be watching for threats from the side. You see what I mean? So you're creating a box. And as you're walking down the street, or you're driving in your cars, or whatever the case may be, you need to be scanning your surroundings. You no longer have the luxury. You never actually did. But you especially no longer have the luxury after Dallas of not being aware of your surroundings. Right? Someone needs to be watching for law enforcement. Someone needs to be watching for large groupings of people, white or black, right? Somebody needs to have the eyes, not just stare the focus, ahead on the road. You have your driver, but think about your car like you would a tank. In a tank, everybody has their own position to play, their own role. The tank driver is the tank driver. He is not the gunner. Okay? He's not the one who's loading the shells into the main weapon, right? That's someone else's job. And then there's the person that pulls the trigger on the weapon, right? And so on and so forth. So you have your driver, you have your gunners, you have your navigators, and so on and so forth, right? We need to start thinking tactically and moving tactically. So even in a vehicle, someone needs to be driving the car, obviously, but others need to be watching and observing. I'm also going to suggest that every single one of you who has the capability to do so legally, and I'm only saying legally for now, because to be honest, I believe that whether you have the capability legally or not, every black person should be armed. But for now, those of us amongst us who have the capability to acquire a concealed carry permit, like a CPL, right, or a CCL, or sorry, CCP, CPL, right, concealed, a concealed personal license or whatever it is called, whatever it is in your state. If you have the capability to acquire one, you need to have one. Number 3, we need to stop so much video and start more engagement. And let me preface my statement right now by saying I get the fact that there is a lot of cowards out there, right? You guys are scared, and I get it, right? Because nobody wants to die. But what we're seeing happening consistently over and over and over and over is that these officers escalate the interaction between individual citizens. And they do this because they're well aware that even if you're filming it, even if you're making comments on the periphery, they have become accustomed to you doing nothing. And that cannot be. We cannot abide that. If you are rolling with a group of individuals and you have not gotten a commitment from each of those individuals as to whether or not they intend to actually bodily, physically stand in should you become the victim of an attack by random white folks, law enforcement, or whatever, you really need to question the circle of individuals that you surrounded yourself with. In other words, if the people that claim to be your friends, your brothers, your family, you know what I'm saying? I got your back, fam. That dude, if when it comes down to 11:59:59, if he's not willing to jump in there bodily to defend you, you need to reconsider whether or not he should even be a part of your circle to begin with. That's my opinion. You make the decision. Number 4, assign tasks. I don't know if you're starting to get this idea, but a small unit, right? Small unit tactics. Everybody has a role to play. One man is, the navigator, right? He's carrying a map. Another person is on point. Another person is pulling up the rear. You've got another person assigned to, fire suppression, right? His whole job in a combat situation is to make sure that he lays down enough fire to where the enemy cannot fire back. So each person in the group needs to have something that they're responsible for and that they're doing. I'll give you a case in point. Walk into the corner store. You got one brother with his phone out and the apps to live stream or to record right there at the open. His phone needs to be charged at 100%, battery full, right? He needs to have a SD card in that phone, even if it needs to be one that he reserves solely for when y'all are moving out and about. Now, you think this is paranoia. You think this is going above and beyond, but I'm telling you, as someone who was trained by these monsters, there is no damned detail that they leave unaddressed. As a matter of fact, from the moment you get into boot camp until the time you leave the military, this is what they're telling you. Attention to detail, private. Attention to detail. Everything is about paying attention to the details, because it is those little tiny niggling details at the moment of truth that means the difference between you coming home and you going home in a body bag. So train. Get your homies together. Get your friends and family together and train. Train on various weapons, not just pistols. You don't have to even be carrying a pistol. Do you know how effective a 4 to 6 foot length, 1 inch in diameter stick, wrapped and capped on the end with metal, with iron, how effective that could be in a combat situation? That can keep distance. That would be able to have enough force that if you pushed with it, would move someone away from you. You would be able to crack a bone if need be to incapacitate someone who's trying to attack the group. So I'm not talking about just guns. I'm not talking about just knives. Sticks can be used as weapons. Tactic number 5, and probably the most important one, is there has to be a commitment to making sure that if one of you go into an interaction, you all are in that interaction. Man, that's fucked up, man. They just rolled up on our man like that. Nah, no more of that shit. If they roll up on your man, they rolling up on you. And if you ain't got the heart to commit to that, you might need to stay your scary ass in the house. After Dallas, if we have learned nothing else after Dallas, what we know is this: white supremacy ain't about taking no L's. You know it, and I know it. They're not about taking any L's. Wherever there's an L that they take, they make sure we take at least 2 or 3 on top of it. So do not be surprised in various locations throughout the country, just dispersed enough to where they can't say definitively that it is the police response to Dallas. But they will be coming at us. Now, they already have been, so as to why you scary, why you afraid, it's because you ain't prepared. So get prepared and be prepared and stay prepared. Preparation is a constant process across the board. So let's recap, okay? Number 1, move in groups. Number 2, make sure that you are all in effective formations or moving in a way that removes barriers out of your way or keeps you from being ambushed, right? Number 3, everybody needs to have a job that they're doing. Everybody needs to be assigned to do something in protection of the entire group. Okay? Number 4, study. You have to learn these various tactics. Number 5, you got to practice. You have to practice. You have to make sure that your SD card is in your pocket or in your phone. You have to make sure that whatever weapons you're going to be carrying during that movement from point A to point B, you have them ready. You make sure they're not broken, that they're in good condition. You have to make sure that you've gotten a commitment from each individual there to intercede for you should you get into an encounter with law enforcement, and now we have to worry about just random ass white people. Whoever comes at you, They need to be seeing and meeting a united front, or you need to change your circle. That's all I got to say, family. Small unit tactics, okay? Look it up. There's actually free online field manuals from the Army itself on survival, small unit tactics, counterinsurgency tactics. Look, you've already paid for them to publish this information to train the motherfuckers that might end up one day killing you. So if you've already paid for these resources and they're absolutely free to you, why not take advantage of them? If you need more information or you're looking for a specific field manual or something, hit me up in the comments below or go on to my social media and let me know what you're looking for. Whatever field manuals you're looking for, I got you. I'll find a way to get them. But we need to start acting and moving tactically. We need to get out of our feelings about this shit that's been going on. It ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing that's changed. Sure, they've killed a few more of us than they would, maybe have otherwise this time period or whatever the case may be. But we already know what they're about. We already know that when we walk out the house, we are at risk. This isn't new. We already know that when we walk out of our front door, and sometimes we don't even have to walk out of our front door, we're walking into a battlefield. So think and act accordingly. Be strategic. Be tactical. Be mindful. And be safe. Until the next one, love, peace, prosperity, and power to my people.